Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Colin Houlihan and I studied jazz at the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm here today with Beyond the Grade to talk to you guys about music theory. And this will be the first in a series of lessons aimed to teach young students and adult beginners the tools that they need to start writing music, reading music, and communicating in the musical language. So this first lesson is going to be about something that I like to call the musical alphabet, which is the 12 notes that we use in any music that is derived from Western tonal music. So what do I mean when I say Western music? Basically, that's any music that's derived off of the artistic traditions of religious music that was born in Western Europe. Now, you might not think of monasteries from Western Europe anytime that you listen to, XXXTentacion or whoever else is current, but, that's where this music comes from. So we have our 12 notes, but when we put any sort of notes together in a collection, we get what's called a scale. Now this isn't the type of scale that you step on and then the numbers make you sad. It's a different kind of scale that we use to organize our notes in music. Now, when we put all of our 12 notes of the system together into a scale, we get a very special type of scale called the chromatic scale. Now this is the scale that includes every single note in the Western tonal system. So we have our chromatic scale, but we need to measure something else. It's called an interval. So basically what an interval is it's the distance between any given two notes. And an interval is measured in something that's called a half step. And a half step is just the smallest interval that we have in the Western tonal system. If you have a guitar lying around the house, one fret is one half step. If you have a piano, if you're playing a note and the next key up, that's a half step. So let's take a look at a few of the intervals that we have in our Western tonal system. So these are all the intervals that we have in a chromatic scale with all 12 of our notes. But what if we don't want all 12 notes? What if we decide that the sound of our song is something that's not the chromatic scale? Well, then we're simply going to have to make a new scale, like the one you see here. Scales are measured in whole steps and half steps. You probably remember earlier in the video I was talking about how a half step is the smallest musical interval. Basically, a whole step is 2 half steps. So let's say we take, 7 of our 12 notes and we put them all together in one scale called the major scale. We can see the major scale right here. So I've put a W for whole and an H for half. So we can see here when we go from our C to our D, that's a whole step. And this is a C major scale because our first and last note of the scale is C. That's the root. We would use that word, the root of the scale. So we go from C to D, that's a whole step. From D to E, another whole step. From E to F is a half step. From F to G is a whole step. From G to A is a whole step. From A to B is a whole step. And from B to C is another half step. So this pattern, 2 whole steps, followed by 1 half step, followed by 3 whole steps, followed by 1 more half step, is our major scale. That's our blueprint for a major scale. So if we start on any note and use that pattern, we'll get a major scale. Now remember, I was saying we have 12 notes in the tonal system, so that makes 12 major scales. You can see right here we have 12 scales. So this should give you kind of a starting point of where you can start to think about our music theory. In our next video, we're going to take a much deeper look at the major scale and some other scales. So I hope this video was informative, And thank you guys for watching, and I hope you tune in next time.